it's just like the temple room. Okay. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all for being here today. Today we are very much honored and blessed. We have His Grace ALALANATH Prabhuji, who will be speaking to us from the great SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM. Prabhuji, you're very much welcome to Hare Krishna Africa platform. This is a platform where we hold SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM discourses 5 days in a week, Monday through Friday. So we're so happy to have you, and we hope to have you many more days to come. So dear devotees, some of us may not know much about our revered speaker today. There isn't many devotees here at the moment, so we may go into his bio after the class. So thank you very much, devotees. And ALALANATH Prabhu, Hare Krishna, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
So if you don't mind, we'll put the verse on the screen and then you take it over from here.
Okay.
You handle it the way you wish. Hare Krishna.
First of all, I thank you that you allow me to speak. Actually, it was on the request of His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Baba Swami. He told me that I should give this lecture, although I'm not qualified, because he's very busy and he's going to India. And also, I have no experience. I have never given any lecture like that on Zoom. So I have no experience how it works, and I hope I will find out. And yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your humility. Hare Krishna.
So now I will try to read the verse.
Yes, so I'm going to put the verse on the screen so devotees would see. And
so we will begin.
Here we go.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 19, text 25. Tatra bhavat bhagavan vyasaputro yadrichaya gam attamano napekshaha alakshalingo nijala bhatushto vatashchabalar abadhu taveshaha. Once more. Tatra bhavat bhagavan vyasaputro yadrichaya gam attamano napekshaha alakshalingo nijala bhatushto vetashtabale avadhu taveshaha. And I will read word for word. Tatra, there, abhavat, appeared. Bhagavan, powerful. Vyasaputra, son of Vyasadeva. Yadachaya, as one desires. Gam, the earth. Attamana, while traveling. Anapeksha, disinterested. Alaksha, unmanifested. Lingaha, symptoms. Nijalabha, self-realized. Tushtaha, satisfied. Vritaha, surrounded. Cha, and. Balai, by children. Avadhuta, neglected by others. Vaishaha, dressed. Translation. At that moment, there appeared the powerful son of Vyasadeva, who traveled over the earth, disinterested and satisfied with himself. He did not manifest any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status of life. He was surrounded with women and children, and he dressed as if others had neglected him. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The word Bhagavan is sometimes used in relation with some of the great devotees of the Lord like Shukadeva Goswami. Such liberated souls are disinterested in the affairs of this material world because they are satisfied, self-satisfied by the great achievements of devotional service. As explained before, Shukadeva Goswami never accepted any formal spiritual master, nor did he undergo any formal reformatory performances. His father, Vyasadeva, was his natural spiritual master, because Shukadeva Goswami heard SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM from him. After this, he became completely self-satisfied. Thus, he was not dependent on any formal process. The formal processes are necessary for those who are expected to reach the stage of complete liberation. But Sri Shukadeva Goswami was already in that status by the grace of his father. As a young boy, he was expected to be properly dressed, but he went about naked and was uninterested in social customs. He was neglected by the general populace, and inquisitive boys and women surrounded him as if he were a madman. He thus appears on the scene while traveling on the earth on his own accord. It appears that upon the inquiry of Maharaj Parikshit, the great sages were not unanimous in their decision as to what was to be done. For spiritual salvation, there were many prescriptions according to the different modes of different persons. But the ultimate aim of life is to attain the highest perfectional stage of devotional service to the Lord. As doctors differ, so also sages differ in their different prescriptions. While such things were going on, the great and powerful son of Vyasadeva appeared on the scene. Tatra bhavat bhagavan Vyasaputro yadachaya gam attamanopekshtah alakshalingo nijala bhatushto vritashthabara avadhutaveshah. At that moment, there appeared the powerful son of Vyasadeva, who traveled over the earth, disinterested and satisfied in himself. He did not manifest any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status of life. He was surrounded with women and children, and he dressed as if others had neglected him. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalaka. Shiksha Vyatavena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So we are at the end of the first canto. This is the last chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is a situation where Maharaj Parikshit was, after he was cursed, after he put the snake on the Shamika Rishi, he was regretting, what have I done? Why did I do it? And then he was thinking, I should be punished for this offense to the great sage. And then he heard, yes, you were cursed. You were cursed by this small Brahmana boy that you will die in 7 days. So then Maharaj Parikshit, who was a great devotee from the Bharat, then he took it as God's grace that yes, now this is the mercy of Krishna that I was cursed to die, because otherwise I'm too attached to my family, to my possessions and everything. So I'm too attached, and Krishna is so merciful that I got this curse that I will die. And this is very good. So this is the position of a great devotee, that he sees everything, even if it's negative, he sees it as grace of Krishna. Because it's very difficult to get be detached from this world, and usually it has to be forced upon us somehow. At the last stage, it is forced by death, disease, old age, and finally death, and the mrityu sarvaharascha aham. Krishna says, I am death, and I will take everything from you. So this is actually Krishna appearing as death, and he takes everything. So better we should surrender to Krishna now and not wait for death. Better to surrender our life now and give it voluntarily. So Maharaj Parikshit, as a great devotee, he welcomed the curse, and he went to the bank of the Ganges. He sat down and started fasting until death. And naturally, this was known all over the universe. The great sages, they all came there because they have super soul in the heart, and super soul tells them you should go there, something is going on. So they went and they surrounded Maharaj Parikshit, and he welcomed sages and started inquiring, what should I do? What should I do now when I'm on the verge of death? And as was said in this purport, doctors have different opinions how to cure some disease. So in the same way, many sages have different opinions about what to do. What is the ultimate goal of life? What is self-realization? What is to be done in this moment? The great sages were not unanimous in their decision what was to be done. So this is the moment of this today's verse. They didn't know what to do. Here, the verse before, Maharaj Parikshit says, I now ask you about my immediate duty. Please, after proper deliberation, proper thinking, tell me of the annual duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die. Please tell me, what is my duty? And then, at that moment, today's verse, there appeared the powerful son of Vyasadeva, Srila Shukadeva Goswami. So he will give the ultimate decision what to do in this moment of death. And this will be in the first chapter of the second canto. This is actually the beginning of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, second canto. It begins with, I heard here, begins with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, first step in God realization. Shri Shuka Uvacha, Varyanesha te prashna, Krito loka hitam nipa, Atvavid sammatah pumsam, Shrota vyadishu yat paraha. I have it in Czech language. Shukadev Goswami said, my dear king, your question is glorious because it brings a great benefit for all kinds of people. And all transcendentalists concluded that the answer to this question is the best topic for hearing. Yeah? What to do at death? This is the best topic for hearing. Variyan eshate prashna. This is so glorious question. So he was, Shukadeva Goswami started speaking and he started glorifying the questions of Maharaj Parikshit, because these questions are so important, and at the end they all attain self-realization due to this Srimad Bhagavatam, to this conversation. Shukadeva Goswami attained self-realization by reciting, and Maharaj Parikshit by hearing. Of course, we know that Shukadeva was self-realized before, but still it is said that he is the example of one who attained perfection in this way. So then Srimad Bhagavatam begins, Shrotavyadi Nirajendra Nenam Santi Sahasrasha. There is so many topics for hearing. People are hearing so many things. What is the news? What is the weather? What is this? How much this costs? And so on and so on. And we have now, it has increased so much. We used to have newspapers and TV, and that was about, it was basically Maya for us, newspapers. But now Maya has so much increased, so many informations, the internet. The problem with internet is that it is endless, doesn't end. There is only more and more and more information. If you read a newspaper, there is only a few pages you read, and that's it. But internet is endless prajalpa. So, of course, could be used for preaching Krishna consciousness. It also is, in the next chapters, there is this famous verse, but Prabhupada says there is a series of verses which explain that those who don't, the tongue who is not glorifying Krishna is like a tongue of frogs, and the ears who don't hear about Krishna are like holes of snakes, and the head with nice turban is the big burden on the head if the head doesn't bow down before Krishna. Yeah. So, and Prabhupada says in one of the purports that one should preach this message of Krishna consciousness very loudly. Should be preached very loudly, and it should be injected in those ear holes, which are like snake holes. They're useless. They are filled with so much nonsense. So preachers should speak very loudly and preach about Krishna so that it enters the ear holes, the snake holes of the people of this world, and they will get benefit. Yeah? They get immense benefit, because this goes to the soul, to the heart immediately. Yeah? This is food for the soul. We are hungry. We are thinking that we are this body, and we are only taking care of this body, which is like a cage. Yeah. And we don't take care of the bird inside the cage. The bird is hungry. The soul is hungry. And this modern civilization is only polishing the cage and taking care very nicely of the body. But they forget to give food to the soul. And soul is spiritual, so it cannot be satisfied by material things. Soul wants Satchit Ananda. Soul is eternal. Soul is full of knowledge. Soul is wants to be happy, be eternal. But the problem is the soul is inside the material body, which is dead, which will grow old, which will die. And that's why the soul is in a very strange condition. Eternal soul is in a permanent, perishable body. So it's unhappy. It's, as Prabhupada says, it's incompatible situation. It doesn't go together. It's like water and oil. They cannot mix. Soul and matter cannot mix, but still they are mixed. And yes, it becomes a source of suffering for the soul. So the soul is trying to look for happiness basically in the desert. Yes, we have no deserts here in Europe, but in Africa you have desert. And yeah, I have never seen desert, but it's basically hot and there is no water. But sometimes you can see water. The hot sand is reflecting light, so it looks there is a lake, there is a water, but it's only sand. So this is exactly how Maya is deluding us, that we think there is some happiness here. And we run to the desert, and then there is only hot sand, and then we run more and more, and then we die. So the soul is looking for happiness here, but looking for water in the desert doesn't work. So the soul is hungry, is thirsty, and it wants Krishna ultimately, because we are all Mama Ivamsho Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Mana Shasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karsha. Krishna says in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that the souls are Mama Iva Amsha. Amsha, they are my eternal fragmental parts. Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, they are eternal, my eternal parts. Mana Shasthani Indriyani, but they are situated in this material nature, Prakriti Sthani, Karshati, and they are fighting, they are struggling with the 6 senses, 5 senses and the mind. Mana Shasthani Indriyan. So we are surrounded by our enemies, the mind, the senses, and we are serving them, actually, because yeah, this is Dharma. Dharma of the soul is to serve. Prabhupada explains, Dharma of sugar is sweetness, Dharma of chili is to be hot, and Dharma of soul is to serve. So yes, we have to serve. And if we don't serve Krishna, then we will be serving our senses. And the mind is the center of the senses. So then, because we identify with the body, and body means senses, then we think, this is my wish. I want to eat this. I want to go to the restaurant. I want to see this movie. I want to do this. I want to smell nice flower. But it's not actually so. We are only serving the senses. It's not us. We are only servants of senses. So in this way, the senses will drag us to the ditch, as we know this picture in the Bhagavad Gita, very nice for preaching, this picture of the chariot. The soul is the traveler, and the mind is the reins, and the intelligence is the driver, and the senses are horses. So the soul is traveling in the chariot of the body, and the senses are driving us to where they want. So if we don't control them, then we will end up very badly, which we see all around us. So that's very unfortunate. Such a nice body, a human body, is the only body in which we can understand spirituality. Yes. Bhagavatam compares the body to the nice boat. If we want to cross the ocean, we need a good big boat. And this material world is compared to the big ocean of nations. Samashitaye padapalava plavam mahatparamye punya shomurare havam budhe param yadvi param natish. I got it wrongly. Yes, if we take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, which are again like a boat, pada palava, plavam, the lotus feet of Krishna are compared to a boat. And if we take shelter of them, this ocean will become small, like a hoofprint of a calf. So, yeah, this is another comparison of to the boat. And this other example is that the human body is a boat, and the favorable winds are Vedas. We have so many Vedic literatures, Bhagavad Gita, SRIMAD, Bhagavatam, Upanishads, Mahabharata, and so on, so on. So we have beautiful winds, and we have a boat, and then we need a captain who is very experienced how to drive the boat, and that's the spiritual master. So yeah, we have everything. We have a boat, we have wind, we have captain. We have Srila Prabhupada as a captain of this boat of ISKCON. Is another example. ISKCON is compared to a boat. And we are swimming, we are floating on this ocean to cross it. And under the expert guidance of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada and the good winds of hearing from the scriptures, and then yeah, we have association of devotees on this boat, and we have to be careful not to jump off back to the water. And yeah, we have to keep nice, friendly, serving relationships, which I see is not really easy if I'm living in temple for like 30 years. Yeah, sometimes it's difficult because we are with same people every day. And as we say, familiarity breeds contempt. For me, it's a problem. So yeah, if you are with same devotees every day, it's a little difficult to appreciate sometimes. But yeah, we have to go visit our another devotees and other temples, travel a little bit, see other places, other temples, yeah, festivals. I don't know if you're organizing some big festivals. I saw some video from Africa, some big festival, big kirtan with devotees dancing like mad. I was thinking, yes, this is Africa. So nice. So these people, they like dancing, chanting. This was so inspiring. So yeah, so we should stay on this boat of ISKCON, and even it may have some problems, but still, it's what other alternative we have. Jump out to the water, and yeah, it's we need some organization, because otherwise the mission cannot spread. Then it will be impossible. This ISKCON was created, we know this 7 purposes of ISKCON. So yeah, I think we should study more these 7 purposes and really try to imbibe them, print literatures, make holy places, lead the members to Krishna and to each other together, and so on. So Srila Prabhupada defined this mission, and without organization there will be no mission. So yeah, every mission, every organization has some faults, but yeah, we have to see it, as His Holiness Kamarama Maharaj explains, in 3 layers. We have the external organization, buildings, and all this stuff. Yeah, there may be faults, but then we have our sadhana, personal sadhana, spiritual life, reading, chanting, and this cannot be disturbed. This is spiritual. This is not dependent on any material things. And then we have the highest level, which is the spiritual pastimes of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which are actually going on now, right now. And we can sometimes see it when we go on the street, we go on Harina, and devotees become very inspired and dancing, chanting. Like this last Friday was Advaita Acharya's appearance day, and devotees went to Prague for Harinam, and they said it was something out of this world. It was so special. I felt like I'm not in Prague. I felt like I'm in Mayapur, and all the devotees were dancing, and all the non-devotees were also dancing. It was like spiritual world, you know. So when this happens on the special days like Advaita Acharya's appearance or other festivals, there is a special mercy on these days, and yeah, we feel like this is not ordinary. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's dancing amongst us. So we see it. If we surrender, if we really take it up seriously and do it full on, then we will see Krishna's hand. We will see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is arranging. And yeah, it's wonderful. So yeah, we can take part in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, which are going on still now. It's a branch, it's called as a branch of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's tree. It's described in the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah. So, yeah. So back to the verse. I got carried off a little bit. So Shukadeva Goswami. Yeah, Shukadeva Goswami. He is not ordinary person. It is described that he is the parrot of Srimati Radharani, and there is a story. There's a story is described in the Ananda Vrindavan Champu. Yes, I wanted to say a few words about Shukadeva Goswami. So, Shukadeva Goswami, where is it? Here. The Shukadeva Goswami was actually the dear parrot of Srimati Radhika, Shriya Shuka. Shriya means of Radhika. Shuka means parrot. So one day, described in the Ananda Vrindavan Champu, Srimati Radharani was feeding pomegranates to that parrot, and she placed him on her hand and told him, "Oh Shuka, say Krishna, Krishna, Krishna." And the parrot repeated in the same sweet and melodious tune and same voice, "Krishna, Krishna, Krishna." And then the parrot flew away from her and went to Krishna's home in Nandagram. She was nearby. And then Krishna there was sitting with his friends, Madhumangal, and they were talking. And then the parrot sat on the branch and began to speak like Radharani, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And then Krishna was looking and asked, where is it coming from? No one is here. And then he saw a parrot sitting on a tree. He called him, come on, come on. And he sat on Krishna's hand. Krishna asked him, what are you saying? The parrot said, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And added, I am very, very unlucky. My mistress is Srimati Radharani, and she held me on her hand and gave me pomegranates. And she told me to repeat Krishna, Krishna. She's very merciful. She loves me so much. Unfortunately, because I have nature of bird, I flew from there and I have come here. So when Krishna heard this, he began to carry the parrot. And then Lalita and Vishaka arrived and they said, oh Krishna, this parrot belongs to Srimati Radharani. She cannot live without him. Please give him to us. Krishna replied, you can call him, and if he comes to you, then take him. And they Lalita Vishaka began to call the parrot, but he did not come. So they told Krishna, if any living entity comes to you, he will get your affection and never go anywhere else. If Srimati Radhika comes and calls him, only then he will come. Without this parrot, Radhika will not be able to live. She's very upset. So Krishna replied, I will not give him to you. If he personally wants to go, he can go. And then Lalita Vishaka went to Mother Yashoda and said, Srimati Radharani's parrot is here. She's very upset. please take the bird and give him to us so we can return him to her. Mother Yashoda said, sit here, wait, I will come back soon. She went to Krishna and said, what nonsense are you doing? You're always playing with birds and animals. Come with me. She took hold of Krishna's hand and began to take him home. Your father is sitting and waiting for you to take bath and prasadam. You should go at once. So Krishna is the Supreme Lord, but in front of Mother Yashoda, he's only a baby. He's helpless. He forgets that he's God. He forgets that he's all-powerful. So Mother Yashoda gave the parrot to Lalita and Vishaka, and they returned with him to Srimati Radharani. So that's the story. And it is said here also, when Srimati Radharani and Krishna were about to conclude the pastimes on earth, this parrot wanted to go with them to their abode. But they told him, after we have returned, there will be no one to tell the residents of the world about Krishna Bhajan. It will be better if you remain here and preach Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's Shukadeva Goswami. He will tell Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. Yeah. So Krishna Swadhamo Pagate Dharma Jnana Adibisa Galo Nashadrasham Esha Purana Arko Dhunoditaha. Krishna Swadhamo Pagate. When Krishna went back to his Dham, Swadhama, Dharma Jnana Adibisa, together with Dharma and Jnana, knowledge and religion, they all went. Krishna went, knowledge went, religion left. Dharma Jnana Adivisa Kalau Nashta Drisham Esha. These people have lost sight. Kalau Nashta Drisham. So that's why Krishna left. Krishna gave Srimad Bhagavatam Purana Arko Adhuna Udita. Now Purana Arka, this Purana, which is like a sun, is rose up. Purana Arka Adhuna Uditaha. Uditaha. Udilo Aruna Purava. When the sun comes up in the morning, Lord Chaitanya is going on Harinam Sankirtan. So Krishna left, but he gave Srimad Bhagavatam for uplifting of the unfortunate people who lost sight. They became mad. Yeah. So, yeah. So Shukadeva Goswami stayed this parrot. And there is a story, actually. Still have time. There is a story how. Yeah, it continues, actually. So this Shuka, Shri Ashuka, remained here in this world, but he knew that without hearing Krishna's pastimes, he would not be able to teach it. He therefore went to Kailas, where Lord Shankara was telling Srimad Bhagavatam to his wife Parvati. So he went to Kailas, and Lord Shiva was there with his wife, and he recited Srimad Bhagavatam. While Parvati was hearing, that parrot sat on a branch of a tree. That tree had a lot of green leaves, so he was covered. He couldn't be seen, especially because the green parrot on a green tree. So he sat there. And Lord Shiva, of course, he forbade that all living entities must leave from this place, because it cannot be taught to unqualified beings, so they will misuse it. So all living entities, they left. Only Parvati was there, and this parrot was secretly sitting there. And so Lord Shiva closed his eyes and started reciting, and Parvati was hearing, and she was like saying something, very good, go on, very good, continue. Yeah? And so first canto, second canto, third canto is a little boring kind of creation of this word, sarga, visarga. She did not have any interest in this, so she gradually fell asleep. So now, when she was sleeping, then the parrot, he began to imitate, because he saw it. She will not say something, Lord Shiva will open his eyes and he will see that he will stop reciting. So the parrot began to imitate Parvati, and he was saying, oh yes, very good, go on, continue. So like this. And Lord Shiva thought that Parvati is hearing, but then he came to the 10th canto, was about to complete 12th canto. Then Parvati suddenly woke up and said, oh, Lord Shiva, I was sleeping. I didn't hear anything. And then Lord Shiva asked, so who was hearing? He was looking here and there. Somebody must be here. And he saw the parrot on the tree, and he became very angry. He took his trident, and the parrot began fleeing. And the Lord Shiva was following the parrot and wanted to kill him. And then the parrot Shuka flew to Badarikashram, which is the abode of Srila Vyasadeva. Badarikash. And he was telling the same Srimad Bhagavatam to his wife, Vitika. So she was hearing with great wonder. And she was hearing the wonderful pastimes of Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill. And she was in wonder. She had opened mouth. And at that moment, the parrot entered her mouth, to her body, stomach. And yeah, he remained there. And then Lord Shiva, he was very angry, and he arrived there and he said, oh, Vyasadeva, respectful obeisances to you. And Srila Vyasadeva, where are you coming from? You are carrying trident. It seems you are very angry. Oh yes, I'm angry. Have you seen any parrot here? Why are you searching for a parrot? He has heard Srimad Bhagavatam. Then why you want to kill him? And Lord Shiva, an unqualified person should not hear Srimad Bhagavatam. If unqualified person hears what he is unqualified to hear, he may misuse it and create chaos in society. The parrot is unqualified, and yet he heard the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. And then, what is the result of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? One becomes immortal. Then, if he is immortal, how can you, Shiva, how can you kill him if he is immortal? Then Lord Shiva began to laugh, and then he returned to Kailas. And the parrot was now in the womb of Vyasadeva's wife. And he stayed there for 16 years. And yeah, after 16 years, his wife was suffering, and Vyasadeva came and he asked the child, "Oh, who are you? I don't know who you are. Why are you giving suffering to your mother? Please come out." And the boy, child from inside said, "I will not come out where Maya is everywhere." What is the meaning of Maya? Maya, that which does not exist. It seems to be a fact that we are these bodies, but we are not. We think that we are these bodies. This is Maya. It is Maya to be attached to the body and not to Krishna. And it is because of this Maya that we are suffering from the endless pain of birth and death. We know that our forefathers died, but we think that we will not die. This is all Maya. Creation, maintenance, destruction of this world are all Maya. So Shukadeva said from inside, "I will not come into Maya." And Vyasadeva replied, "I will remove this Maya. Please come out." "I don't believe you." "So who will you believe?" "I will believe Krishna. If he will come and tell me to come out, I will do it." So by the prayers of Vyasadeva, Vyasadeva called Krishna, and Krishna came and said, "Oh, my son, I am Krishna. I am removing Maya just for a moment, so please come out right now." And Shukadeva said, "I believe you." Krishna removed Maya, personally sent the illusory energy far away, so that Shukadeva Goswami would come out of his mother's womb, and Shukadeva came out at that moment. And there was no samskara, no cutting of umbilical cord, there was no yagya upavita, no brahminical initiation or sacred thread. And Shukadeva Goswami, what he did, he ran away immediately when he was born. He ran away to the forest without any attention to his father, Srila Vyasadeva, and his wife, his mother. He was Brahmana and renunciate from birth. So it continues a little more. And so, yeah, he just ran to the forest. What to do? Vyasadeva thinks, I have written Srimad Bhagavatam, but there is no qualified person to whom I can teach it. From his very birth, my son has no attachment to any worldly things. He's actually qualified to hear. If he will hear, he will be able to preach this mission to the entire world. So Vyasadeva's thought. So he ran to the forest after his son. Yeah. He was calling, oh son, my son, come here, return. But only an echo came from the forest. Who is father? Who is son? Who is mother? Krishna is your father. Krishna is your mother. Krishna is everything. That was the echo. The answer. Who is son? Who is mother? Who is father? So Shukadeva Goswami entered the forest and Vyasadeva followed him. And on the way, there were some young girls bathing in the water, in a pond or river. And when Shukadeva Goswami, he was passing the girls who were naked, and he was also. So they continued as if nothing happened. They weren't trying to hide or something. But then when Vyasadeva was passing, and he was very old and had white hair, they immediately ran away, the girls. They quickly put their clothes offered obeisances. And then Vyasadeva asked them, "Oh, my dear girls, I'm old like your grandfather's grandfather. When you saw my beautiful naked son, you were not embarrassed. But I'm so old and you are young as my granddaughters, but you felt shame? Why?" And the girls replied, "Your son does not see whether someone is a man, a lady, a tree, a creeper. He only sees the soul and the super soul everywhere. But you spoke to us, addressing us as your great granddaughters. This is why we became so shy in front of you." So Karma Goswami, he didn't see women bodies. No, he saw only soul and super soul. He was completely self-realized. So he wanted, Vyasadeva, he wanted to bring him home, to teach him Srimad Bhagavatam. So how to catch him? So he wrote a verse, one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, from 10th canto, 10:21:5. This is gopis glorifying Krishna. So the verse says, Krishna wears a peacock feather on his head, blue flowers on his ears, yellow garment as brilliant as gold. And Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with marks of his footprints. He filled the halls of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. That's the verse which Vyasadeva gave to the hunters, and he told them they should recite this verse. And if they recite this verse, they will capture a lot of birds. So it was a trick. So they went to the forest and sang this verse, and then this attracted Shukadeva Goswami in the forest, and he came to the hunters and asked, who told you this? Please ask him to explain the qualities of the person which this verse describes. So the hunters next day, they went to Vyasadeva and told him what happened, and he gave them another verse. Aho bakiyam stanakalakutam jigham sayapayat api asadhi lebhe gatim dhatri uchitam tatonyam kamba dayalum sharanam brajema. Alas, how shall I take shelter of the one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, although she was unfaithful and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast? This is Bhagavatam 3:2-23. So it's about Putana, who went to kill Krishna, wanted to poison him, but Krishna is so merciful that after killing her, he gave her a destination like his mother or a nurse. So who is more merciful than Krishna? Whom should we take shelter other than Krishna, who is so merciful? So, and the hunters again, they recited this in the forest, and then Shukadeva Goswami was caught. He came home, Vyasadeva, and he taught him then an entire Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are some stories about Shukadeva Goswami. Very interesting. Yeah, we have 1 hour, so I think we can end. A little afraid to ask for questions. I'm not sure if I will be able to answer. I'm not that educated. It took me 30 years to do Bhakti Shastri. I'm not a great scholar, but
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. uh, don't worry about not being able to answer questions. I've also been a devotee for so many years. I've never taken Bhakti Shastri. Yes, don't worry. But thank you so much for the wonderful class. Lots
Do-
of wonderful stories.
do you study Bhakti Shastri in Africa?
Yes, in fact, we have a Bhakti Shastri teacher on this forum today.
Oh, very good.
He teaches Bhakti Shastri. We have a few devotees in West Africa that teach Bhakti Shastri,
Very nice.
but I haven't taken it. So
Yes, good. You can go deeper
yeah,
into Bhagavad Gita, and I think it's necessary to take it not once but more times.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to follow your advice and take it.
So
Krishna. So dear devotees, our revered speaker, ALALANATH Prabhu, has shared with us wonderful stories about Shikadev Goswami that also involves Maharaj Parikshit, involves Lord Shiva, Parvati, Radharani, Krishna, beautiful stories. So if you have any questions or comments, realizations, you may do that.
yes, some realizations how Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are going on in Africa right now.
Yes, so devotees may share some pastimes, devotional pastimes in West Africa, if you want to. But Prabhuji, see, when you were talking initially from the purport that Sri Prabhupada gave to the text,
Yeah.
it was said that Maharaj Parikshit saw Krishna's hand in Shringi's cursing him. When Shringi, the small Brahmin boy, cursed Maharaj Parikshit,
Yeah.
Maharaj Parikshit took it as that's what Krishna wanted.
Yeah.
And so it is said that even though he had the power to counteract the curse, he did not, because he saw that that was Krishna's plan.
Yes.
And if it is Krishna's plan, then you just have to follow through. So if Maharaj Parikshit saw that whatever happened to him was due to Krishna's plan,
Yeah.
then how was he ruling as an emperor? Because as an emperor, as a royal king, he had to deal with justice and injustices, like people doing things right and those not doing things right. If he had said that whatever is happening is Krishna's plan, then he will see nonsense go on in his kingdom. But as far as we know, that was not who Maharaj Parikshit was. He was really ready to discipline Kali when he saw Kali brutalizing the cow and the bull.
Yeah.
So how do we understand, as devotees, how do we understand that this is Krishna's plan, this is not Krishna's plan?
No. Yeah, how do we understand what is Krishna's plan and what is not Krishna's
Yeah.
plan? Yeah, that's exactly what I was afraid of. No. Yeah, Prabhupada, as I remember, Srila Prabhupada, he also sometimes wasn't completely sure what. No, he would say, "This is our plan." He made some plan, and he said, "This is our plan. Now let us see what is Krishna's plan." So yeah, we cannot live without any planning or doing something. And yeah, sometimes we doubt, is it what what Krishna wants from me? Yeah, it's an eternal dilemma.
Yeah.
I don't have any, sure answer. It's usually, yeah, you have to consult your gurus, spiritual masters, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, other experienced devotees, and ask them, what do you think? Is it good plan? What I want to do? And also chant purely. Try to really listen to the holy name, get purified, and then if you are purified, then you can you are connected to Krishna, to soul. So yeah, sometimes I chant it, and verses started to appear in my mind, and I wrote them down. And it was a nice poem about how we are not this body, so how the soul is enlightening the body like the sun. And I always say I didn't write this poem, it was just revealed from inside. So yeah, ask Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. Yes, these three controlling points: Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. And yeah, we have to try to be connected to Krishna, and so disconnect from our mind, material mind. Yeah, mind is always sankalpa vikalpa. Yeah? It's accepting, rejecting. Yes, should I do this? No, this is not good. Yes, no. Yeah, this is problem. So we have to get off the mental plane. So how to do it? Yeah, by yoga. Yoga means connection with Krishna. So yeah, we have to become pure. And then Krishna will give us the proper inspiration, proper words. Like Prabhupada, he prayed in his poem, yes? My dear Krishna, please, this Markine Bhagavad Dharma, please what is it? Give my words the power so that I will be able to convince them. If you make my speech powerful, then they will be able to understand. So when we speak, we give a lecture, we always depend on Krishna to give us the words. Of course, we should also do some preparation, study for lecture. But sometimes we see that I prepared a lecture, but actually when I was there, I didn't use my notes because Krishna, he gave me some other inspiration, and according to the public, to the hearers, what they need. And this is many times the devotees said that Srila Prabhupada, he answered, they had some questions, and he, in the lecture, he answered exactly what they wanted to ask. There's so many stories. I recommend to listen to the Prabhupada memories. There is on YouTube, there is a few channels with Prabhupada memories, so wonderful. Siddhanta Prabhu, he's recording, yes. So yeah, that's all I can say.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. If and when we are in doubt, we should consult Guru Sadhu Shastra, senior devotees. So
Give it some time, and don't be in a hurry.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Chakra Prabhu, please unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Chakra. Hare Krishna.
And Varanam. Prabhupada and all good. Thank you very much. My question is story you told about the Radharani's parrots. Yeah, I felt the only time I heard that story was from Govinda Maharaj. But so one time I was also telling it to somebody, and the person asked me, "Where did you read it from?" And I said, "Well, I have not read it from anywhere. I heard it from Govinda Maharaj." And the person was insisting that if I can find out where the story is, so that's why I want to know if there is a book or somewhere that we can get the story from.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I was afraid of this again. No, yes, we were discussing about this today with devotees, and yeah, it's already some time that we also discussed this topic. If this is bona fide, where is it from? I heard it from Bhakti Prabhava Swami, if you know him. Bhakti Prabhava Swami is very learned devotee, is disciple of Prahladananda Maharaj. He's really like encyclopedia, you know. So I will try to ask him on WhatsApp. I will ask him. I don't know myself, but I'm sure he knows. Yeah,
Okay.
it is written in the book from Gaur Govinda Maharaj, Mathura means Vrindavan, and I'm sure it's from Shastra. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Mathura meets Vrindavan. Okay. So
this other story was from Ananda Vrindavan Champu with Radharani and Krishna and Parrot.
Yeah. I think I saw you were reading some portions of the stories from that Vrindavan Champu. Rasalila Devi, please, you may unmute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for the wonderful lecture. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. On the issue of it being Krishna's plan, that I believe the question was asked before, how do we know if it's Krishna's plan? And the answer was to consult with higher authorities with Gita, which I agree. It's a wonderful advice. My question is, there are a lot of people who will use the terminology, it's Krishna's plan, to kind of further their own agenda and say, well,
Yeah.
it's Krishna's plan that this should happen. And so I'm following Krishna's plan, just using that as an excuse.
Mm.
So for instance, someone may manipulate other people, abuse them, do harmful things to them and say, you know, Krishna's in my heart. It's Krishna's plan. So how can we sort of turn that around in a more positive way so people understand that what we think isn't always what is Krishna's plan, but also do it so in a sensitive way as to not cause offenses. So that's my question. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not completely sure if I understood. Could you put it a little bit like more concise in one sentence short? Could you
Yes,
please?
sure. So say for instance, a devotee or even an authoritative person,
Yeah.
temple authority, or it be family member, abuse someone, cause harm to them, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, any form of harm itself.
Mm.
And then go on to say it's Krishna's plan. I
Yeah.
cannot do any wrong because Krishna is in my heart. And so what I do is correct because Krishna is in my heart. They use that as excuse to kind of hide behind that screen that, you know, Paramatma is in my heart. And so it's Krishna's plan to do this. So how can we correct that? How can we make sure that it does not continue to take place? That just because we think it's Krishna's plan, or just because Krishna's in our heart, and so we can do whatever we want and not
Yeah.
think that there will be any consequences behind it.
Yeah.
But to also do that in such a way as to not be offensive to such individuals, because they may not know that it's right or that it's the wrong thing to do to things. So how can we do that? How can we turn that around in a bit positive and sensitive way?
Mm. Ooh. Well, it's a bit proud if somebody thinks I am right. Krishna is in my heart. I know what I'm doing. I am the authority. This what I do is Krishna's plan. It doesn't sound right to me. You know, such a person is not really qualified as authority to be ruling others' lives or causing harm. That should be discussed with, you know, somebody who is above, you know, somebody who's his authority, or go up, you know, to make complaint, maybe because you know, Srila Prabhupada, he didn't impose on people, you know, I want this, you must do it, but he was always a true spiritual leader. That means he was inspiring people to do it. Srila Prabhupada wrote or said, maybe it was in a letter, that the management is actually simple. Just make them love you. You know, if devotees love you as a leader, authority, temple president, whatever, if devotees love you, then the management will be easy, because they will want to please you. So they will do what you want. So yeah, it's sometimes difficult to combine together needs of the society, center, temple, whatever, and needs of individual devotees. It's hard because the temples must go on, deity worship must go on, and we don't have enough devotees sometimes, and yeah, what to do? But if we create wrong atmosphere of, you know, fear or authoritative, you know, mood, then people will not be attracted to join. And if we create a loving society of devotees who support each other and love each other, and the leaders, they communicate with devotees and try to accommodate their needs, and you know, sometimes you have to stretch a little bit, and then if you stretch too much, it will break. So if you don't stretch enough, people will not make advancement if you don't push at all. And if you stretch too much, then they will also not make advancement, it will break. So it's a complicated affair. I'm not manager, I'm only ordinary devotee, pujari and pujari here. I didn't study these things, but this is what comes to my mind. Yeah. Yeah. We had
Thank you.
some.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the answer.
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna.
if I may ask, go ahead, Srimad Prabhu, please.
Yes, Hare Krishna, my obeisances. Just a follow-up to Ras Leela's question.
Yeah.
I think the question is very deep because, yes, people get abused in devotional service. And usually abuse comes from somebody who has authority over you. And then people say, well, it is Krishna's plan. So she's saying, so at what point do you make the difference? You know, but this person, maybe it's just some, you know, bully or just somebody taking advantage of his position to maltreat somebody else, another devotee, and creating, you know, hell for another devotee just for one reason or the other. And then people say, well, it's Krishna's plan. It's Krishna's plan. So sometimes, you know, we use this philosophy to justify things like this. So that's what she's asking. And yeah, I think we have to see how to help her to understand when we can think it is not Krishna's plan and when we are sure that it is Krishna's plan. This is what she wants to know. And I think it's a very valid question.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if it's Krishna's plan, then people will make spiritual advancement from it. And if they don't make advancement, if they are not happy, then we can see it's obviously not Krishna's plan. Isn't it? Yeah.
And I like that. I like that because there is there are two ways we can see that. First, there's a similar incident in the Bible. Some two young devotees had to quarrel and then they got separated. And Paul said, if the quarrel leads to increase, so that is Krishna's plan. That is God's plan. If the quarrel, they have all missionaries, you know, and then there was some misunderstanding and then they separated and they couldn't continue together. And Paul said, if it increases service, you go increase the mission this way, you go increase the mission that way. That is Krishna's plan. Yeah. But then So that's why I love, I appreciate your response that if they make advancement from it, then that is Krishna's plan. But then we can also say that that is when the person that it affects does not allow it to hamper his spiritual progress. Not everyone is matured enough to be able to handle adversity. So some people can take advantage of adversity and progress, and some people, it becomes their undoing. They have a good justification for why I could not continue. This happened to me, So then there, can we say it's Krishna's plan all at the same time? Because this person is so immature. I mean, it's not very strong, and this happens to him. Now, for that reason, he cannot continue his devotion. He doesn't make progress, certainly. Then do we still say, yeah, that is Krishna's plan also? When it does, when it makes when the person, the victim, advances, yes, we can say, yes, it's Krishna's plan. That's your response, and I love that. But if it happens to a neophyte who could not see how to take advantage of adversity, and then he becomes a victim, then do we still say it's Krishna's plan?
Well, it's very difficult to understand Krishna's plan. Yeah, sometimes what Kunti, Kunti Pandavas, they suffered so much. And Kunti says, let all these calamities come again and again, because when we are suffering, we see Krishna, we are with Krishna. And now that we will be the kings, then Krishna is going away. So sometimes, Krishna's plan is mysterious, and we can see again in the life of Srila Prabhupada so many difficulties, so many, this heart attack, and his Bhagavad Gita got stolen, and his preaching was success, his success was zero. And this all was so that he will later become successful at the end. So in the beginning, it's very difficult to see Krishna's plan. But after many, many years, sometimes, we will understand, oh, now I know. This was actually good. But at that moment, it's difficult to appreciate. So, yeah, these things are complicated. I don't think I can answer this.
Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Anybody from you can answer?
Well, that's a question to each and everyone on the platform.
Yeah.
Well,
We should pray to Krishna every day to please reveal your plan.
Yeah.
Yatha tatha va vidadhaturam. But he will still remain mat prananathas to saevana para. He will remain our Lord, even if we will suffer. This is of course, this is the highest. This is the highest mood of the gopis. Yeah. This story is there with the dust. Krishna had a headache, and the gopis gave the dust, and they said, "We will go to hell, but Krishna will be happy." So we cannot imitate, of course, we cannot imitate this. It's the ultimate goal, to depend on Krishna. Even if I suffer, but Krishna is happy, I'm also happy. That's the goal.
well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. While we wait to see if somebody may share any insight on the question Mother Rasalila asked. We'll go to Govinda Prabhu. Govinda Prabhu, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My respectful obeisances to the devotees. My question is concerning the living entity, more specifically the conditioned souls. Everyone here is afraid of death because the reason being that we are eternal and we have been put into this cage.
Yeah.
And this cage is destructible. And so because we are eternal, that we don't die, and so we don't want to die. And as a result of that, we are afraid of death.
Right.
My question is that the living entity has this realization that he's eternal. In his natural state, he never dies. And that's why he's afraid of death. So the opposite side of this same philosophy is what I'm asking. If the soul knows this, that is eternal, then why is he afraid of death?
Mm-hmm. Well, because he doesn't know that he's eternal. He is an illusion. That's the definition of illusion, Maya, that which is not. So he is afraid of death because he thinks, I am this body. This is Maya. I am this body and I will die. That is also described in the second canto somewhere. There is these 5 kinds of ignorance. So very nice description. This moha, maha, moha, tamas, tamisra. Can't remember now exactly. You can look it up. So one of them is this fear of death. Because I am identifying with what I am not. That's why I am afraid. Yeah, this is the identification is the problem. Just like I see you are sitting in a car, right?
Yes.
And so I don't know if you are identifying with the car, but because you're devotee, but normal people, the driver, the owner is usually identifying with the car. It's my car, it was very expensive. And ultimately, he may think I am the car. And if he has accident or somebody scratches his new car, then he's so much suffering. Oh, my car, somebody scratched it. But if there is another person, the passenger, he will not feel anything. What's the problem? Yeah, because he is not attached to that car, but the owner is attached. So if somebody scratches his car, he's suffering. And the passenger is not attached to the car, he is not suffering. So the cause of suffering is attachment to this car or the body. And yeah, it's easy to say, but of course it takes basically a whole life to realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice,
And
Prabhu.
the best,
Yeah,
the
yes,
best
go ahead,
way,
Prabhu.
yeah, just last sentence. The best way to realize I'm not this body is, in my opinion, to go on Harinam Sankirtan. If you chant, you dance, then all this bodily consciousness goes away. After some time, it takes usually 1 hour, 2 hours. If you chant 2 hours, then it becomes to really, start. If you chant 3 hours, then you are off the bodily platform. So Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam Kalau Nasti, Vanasti, Vanasti, Vagatirana. There is no other way, no other way. No other way than chanting the holy name. That's the best. As Indra Prabhu used to say, the chanting japa is like if you take pills, you are sick, so you take some pill. That's like japa. But when somebody is really, really sick, seriously, then they take this injection, and they give him injection to the vein, So that's kirtan. Kirtan is a big injection. So yeah, we have to chant more together, Sankirtan together. Yes, so that's the best medicine for this. Harinama Mahamantra, Lao Tumimagi. What's that? Ma Golokera Prevadhana Harinama Sankirtana. Yeah. No. Yes. Eneshi Aushad Himaya Nashibarolagi. Yeah, that's the Bhaktivinoda Bhajan. Eneshi Aushad Himaya Nashibarolagi. This Maya will be destroyed by this medicine of chanting. So Harinam, that's the solution. Yes, I am afraid
Say,
that
I asked the question because say when we want to sleep, everybody sleeps, and we are not afraid to sleep, but we are afraid to die. But death and sleep is the same thing. When you sleep, you don't remember anything.
yes,
And
that's
when you
why.
give up the body, it's the same thing. And then the soul, it said that the soul is made out of Satchit Ananda Vigraha, the elements of Satchit Ananda. So this is eternal. The soul is eternal. And even though the soul is put into this body, and the body has senses, so all the senses serves as a windows or as an instrument for the soul to operate. So the mind may be thinking the intelligence is higher than the mind, and the soul is higher than the intelligence. So is the soul thinking, the soul desires is what project into the intelligence and then to the mind. And so I mean, the soul is a main person acting through the senses, right? So my question still remains that the soul is Satchit Ananda, it's eternal. So whatever the mind may be doing or the intelligence may be doing is also coming from the soul. Why the soul goes to that level, if it's that eternal. And again, he's afraid to die because he knows that he never dies. So where is the identification of the body? When he knows that he never died, that is why he doesn't want to die. And whatever the mind is doing, the mind is thinking, I'm going to die. The intelligence is telling us, if you touch this, this will kill you. And the mind said, no, try it. You never die. Intelligence said, no, you are a fool. If you touch it, you get burnt. And all this is coming from the soul. So where do you draw the line of soul, the soul being a Sachit Anandra, and the intelligence and the mind doing their own thing?
Yeah, you were speaking about this Bhagavad Gita verse, Indriyani Parani Ahur Indirebhra Paramana Manasast Parabudher Yo Bude Paratast. Yes, this is in the ideal scenario. The soul should be ruling. Soul should be connected to Krishna, and then the soul is controlling intelligence, and intelligence is controlling mind, and mind is controlling the senses. That's how it should be. But mainly we are not on that platform, and very often we are controlled from the opposite side, that the senses are, as I explained this chariot example, the senses are pulling and the mind wants to follow them, and then the mind uses intelligence to make good arguments why we should do it, why we should follow the senses. So this is misused intelligence. This is materialistic intelligence, which is engaged in service of the mind and senses. So we have to develop connection to Krishna and make our intelligence sharp by understanding what is reality, what is not reality, what is illusion, who is Krishna, what is my relationship with Krishna, Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. So we have to study Shastra, and in this way, Krishna says at the end of the Gita that one who studies this conversation, this Bhagavad Gita, is worshipping me by his intelligence. So yeah, the intelligence needs to be sharpened every day. And yeah, all this process we have from Srila Prabhupada is perfectly made so that gradually our intelligence is sharpened and our detachment from matter is coming, and we are becoming more and more attached to Krishna. And then we will lose this fear. Yeah, this fear is only Maya. So, but this process is a long process. Usually it takes, well, yeah, it depends on the sincerity, but it's for whole life, yeah, if not more lives. Depends on the attitude of each person, but I don't know what more to say. And I actually have to go. I have service on the altar. We have deities, Shri Shri Nitai Navaripa Chandra, Gaur Nitai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the love, the time.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And
what country are you speaking from?
Czech Republic.
Okay, Czech Republic. Okay.
Outside is something called snow.
Yeah.
Something you've never seen. Snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it snowed yesterday or today?
Snowing all the time.
Okay. All right. Okay, so, well, thank you so much for being here, and we hope to have you again sometime.
Yes.
And you pray to Golden Tide for all of us to remain devotees and become serious devotees.
I will do it.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
It was my pleasure to see you.
Thank you so much,
this way.
Hare Krishna.
ISKCON is spreading all over the world.
Yes.
So nice to see.
Yeah. We humbly requesting all the devotees to kindly unmute, and then we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express appreciation to our revered speaker, ALALANATH Prabhu. Jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakapatarvishta, Vasavya Ivacha, Ketanam Pavanavevyo, Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha.
Jai. All glories
Hare
to
Krishna.
ALALANATH Prabhu ki
Jai.
jai.
Thank
All
you so much,
glories to
Prabhu,
Srila
for the class.
Prabhupada.
Thank you.
Jai Shri
Srila
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Haribo.